Hey, what's up, San Antonio? What's up, wherever else you might be watching from? Just wanted to do another quick video. I'm not the first person to be talking about it. I'm not going to say everyone's talking about it, but some people have been having the conversation, so I'll jump in with my 2 cents as well. If you haven't seen any of my videos, I live here in San Antonio, and I've been a Spurs fan my whole life, of course, as everyone else who lives in San Antonio for the most part. So, today we'll be talking about if I think Wemby should be in the top five player discussion and whether or not he is a top five player. So, of course, I'm a Spurs fan down here in San Antonio. I don't try to be biased in my Spurs takes, even though I do hype up Wemby in my videos for sure, and he deserves the hype. Even if I wasn't a Spurs fan, I think I'd be talking very highly of Wemby. If you haven't watched any of the games for living under a rock, or maybe you only watch the highlights, it doesn't really do justice to everything Wemby does out there on the court. But we'll just start with some numbers here to get started. This will be Victor Wembanyama's stats. I'll be comparing him to some other players that are considered to be in that top five comparison there right now. But if we see here with Vic, averaging 25 points on the season. Does have the 3.6 turnovers. It's pretty high, but once you see the other guys we're comparing him to, you'll see it's not too much crazier than what they're averaging. All these guys are superstar players, so they're going to have the ball in their hands a lot, of course. So turnovers are going to come along with that, but Victor's still working on that part of his game. But he's got the 4 blocks and the 1 steal. They they had a conversation for Defensive Player of the Year last year. Victor was clearly the best defender in the league already last year, but for whatever reason they gave it to Rudy Gobert. They just didn't want to give it to a rookie, or who knows what it is. I don't think they wanted to give it to him his rookie year because he's just going to be winning probably the next 4 or 5 straight Defensive Player of the Years, as long as he stays healthy, of course, and as long as no other crazy athlete comes in the league we haven't seen yet, which is possible. So we'll see there. But for now, the four blocks, 1 steal, so 5 total stocks there, steals and blocks combined. Best defender in the league. Again, if you haven't watched the games, people can't even get in the paint on him. They might get into the paint and they're just scared to take a shot. They might just dribble circles around, kick it back out for a three because Victor just covers honestly the whole painted area when he's in there. Everyone's very aware and it's tough to get any shots up. But on to other stats, 3.8 assists, we'll just call it 4 assists there. 10.8 rebounds, we'll just call that 11 rebounds for him. 87% from the free throw line, so that's a crazy number for a 7'5 guy. You'll take 87% from the free throw line from any player at all. That's pretty well above average from the free throw line. I wouldn't be surprised to see him shoot 89, 90% as his career goes on. He's just that good of a shooter. 35% from three, so he's shooting better or just as well as a lot of your favorite guards and forwards out there. We'll get into the other stats of these other guys here in a second. Some people are complaining about Victor taking too many threes, but shooting 35% from the 3-point line, as a Spurs fan or a fan of any team, you'll definitely take the 35%. Even though he's 7'5", I understand people saying he should get inside and finish at the rim, but he's just kind of developing his three ball this season. He probably won't be taking quite as many attempts as his career goes on. He'll probably cut it down a bit, but for now, we're just letting him experiment and work on his three ball, which again is already an above average 3-point shot he has. 47.9, we'll just call it 48% from the field, which is very solid from the field. I know people want to see him, 55, 60% like Giannis with how tall he is and his frame and everything like that. I said in one of my earlier videos he's going to be, or I think he's going to be a finesse post scorer once he gets his post game. I don't think he's going to be like a Shaquille O'Neal or anything like that, of course, a Dwight Howard. I think he'll be more like a Kareem, Hakeem Olajuwon, that kind of player in the post. Try to develop his hook shot and things like that, and then with his footwork, he'll be able to develop that post game as time goes on, and he's also going to add some more muscle as well. Not too much, hopefully just 10 or 15 more pounds, just so he can hold his spot better and finish better through contact. But yeah, the 25 points, 4 blocks, 1 steal, 11 rebounds, 35% from three, 87% from free throw, 48% from the field, and only playing 33 minutes per game. So out of everyone we're going to talk about, Victor's playing the least minutes per game out of all of those players. So he's doing this in the least amount of time for the stats he's putting up. So that's another factor to kind of consider there. All right, going on, move on to Giannis. So first thing I'll point out here, 35 minutes per game. So he's averaging 2 more minutes per game than Victor is. It's not a crazy amount of time, 2 more minutes, but you can get an extra 4 points, an extra few rebounds in those 2 minutes, and you'll see here Giannis does that. He's just a beast out there. I'm not saying it's only that extra time is the reason that his points and his rebounds and things are a little higher. He's just an animal, but that is a factor. He gets those 2 extra minutes per game. But we'll start here. 31.7, so basically 32 points per game. 3.5 turnovers. Victor's at the 3.6, so same amount of turnovers for those two guys. And then again, Giannis is playing 2 more minutes per game. Giannis has a steal and a half, or rather a block and a half, and basically a steal a game. 0.8. We'll give him the steal there. Something that's really impressed me with Giannis. Last season, he was averaging 6.5 assists. He's averaging 6.1 assists this season. So he's really been getting better at his playmaking. I know that's something people wanted to see from him. He was always a good playmaker. I think he was always around 5 assists or so per game. But now he's pushed it up to 6. He's really getting his teammates involved more because he draws so much attention to himself when he's going towards the rim. All right. So yeah, basically 32 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. Again, he's just a monster out there. No one can really stop Giannis. You have to double him. You have to triple team, send help in the paint when he's going in there. Otherwise, he's just going to drop 40, 50 points on you. Again, then you send the help, and he has those 6 assists a game, 12 rebounds again, so he impacts the game in all the ways. Again, we played the Bucks the other night, and he took the one-on-one challenge guarding Wemby. Did a great job, made Wemby really uncomfortable. So great one-on-one defender, great team defender. When we played him again the other night, if you didn't see my other video, blocked Devin Vassell's dunk really bad at the rim. It was a nasty block. But yeah, Giannis affects the game majorly defensively and majorly offensively as well. I would say he's definitely one of the top 3 players in the league. For Giannis, 18% from 3, but who cares? He doesn't really even shoot him anyway. 60% from the field, like I was pointing out. Victor's at 48% from the field. He plays more like a guard, though. Giannis plays like a big man that can handle the ball. And then 59% from the free throw line. Never was a great free throw shooter, but I think he was over 60% or so the past couple of seasons. So that has regressed a little bit, or just having a shaky season on the free throws. But yeah, like I was saying, Giannis, I think he's one of the top 3 players in the NBA. Again, 32 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.5 blocks, and a steal. Yeah, just a great player, needless to say there. All right. Now we'll get on to Nikola Jokic. He's averaging, I think, the most minutes out of all these guys we're going to talk about, 37 minutes per game. But yeah, Jokic is the best player in the NBA as far as I'm concerned. People are trying to make the argument for SGA, Gilgeous-Alexander, to be MVP, but I think it's just voters fatigue, to be honest. When you compare their numbers, it's not really. I don't want to say it's not an argument. You can make an argument for SGA. I don't want to disrespect SGA like that. because he definitely should be in the conversation. But at the end of the day, when you compare things, Jokic is that guy. He should be the MVP again. But we'll talk about SGA in a second here. But back to Jokic, 31.5 points per game, 3.2 turnovers, which is pretty crazy because everything runs through Jokic. To only have pretty much just about 3 turnovers, he takes care of the ball really well, especially with the 37 minutes. So he's playing, I think, the most minutes out of these guys. We'll have to go through the other guys and make sure. But, high minutes every night. And then he's giving you 31.5 points, 2 steals a night, which is pretty crazy. He's not super athletic to get his steals that way. He's just very, very smart. He knows where the ball's kind of going, what the other team's offense wants to do. He studies all that. And then, he can get into passing lanes. He can get the wraparound steals when guys are trying to post him up. Um, just a really smart player in that aspect. But 9.9, just call it 10 assists and 13 rebounds. Dude's averaging triple double again. He's done it before, I believe, or been very close in his career. And like I was saying, Jokic is the MVP again, unless I don't even want to talk about it if he gets injured or anything, but that's not going to happen. This guy has the best numbers in the NBA, and he should be the MVP again. Like I was saying before, he's the number one player in the NBA as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, the 80% from the free throw line, 47.7, basically 48% from three, which is crazy, and then 55.5% from the field. So, like I was saying, I think Giannis is top three. I think Jokic is number one. But if you kind of compare Victor, the 48% from the field, Giannis 60% from the field, which is ridiculous. Jokic 55.5% from the field. So in Wemby's career, he'll definitely get up over 50%. I don't know if we'll see him shoot 55, 60%. It's definitely possible, but he plays more of a guards game, more of a perimeter game. He's going to be shooting threes. He's going to shoot jumpers his whole career, of course. But once he kind of fills out his body more, gets his post game, which again I think is going to be a finesse game, but he'll be dominant down there at that point. And then we'll start seeing, 50%, 55% seasons from Wemby, but he's still developing that. All right, on to Gilgeous-Alexander, who's averaging 31.5 points per game, only 2.7 turnovers, so takes care of the ball really well, especially for him always handling it, and the whole offense really runs through him. 2 steals, 1.2 blocks. He's a great defender. He's a lockdown defender. That's kind of what his career started off as. He was just known for being a very, very good defender, and then his offense started to develop, and he's became what we see today now. Yeah, 31.5 points, 5.9 assists, and 5.5 rebounds. So really good numbers. 31, 6, 5.5, 89% from the free throw line, 35.8% from three, and then basically 53% from the field, which is pretty crazy for a guard, especially with the shots he takes. He shoots a lot of tough contested jumpers, tough finishes in the paint, and then again everything runs through him. 34.5 minutes. So let's see. Yeah, Jokic is at the 37. Giannis is at the 35. Victor's at the 33. So yeah, I mean, SGA, he's playing a good 2 minutes, minute and a half less than Joker and Giannis are. And still putting up the 31.5 points, the 6 assists, the 5.5 rebounds. And again, no disrespect to SGA, he's an elite player. He's he's the best point guard in the NBA right now. But when you compare his numbers to Joker, again, 31, 6, 5.5. Joker, 31.6. It's 0.1, but he's ahead of him in scoring. So, ahead is ahead. And then 9.9 assists. So 10 assists and 13 rebounds. You just can't give the SGA. You can't give the MVP to SGA over Jokic with those numbers. even with SGA's impact on defense, even with his team possibly finishing number one in the West, you just can't. You just can't do that. I don't think it will be a robbery to Jokic. Like I said before, people are getting the voters fatigue, but I still think he's clearly the number one player in the NBA. Now we get on to someone that a lot of people sleep on for whatever reason, but Jason Tatum. I don't know why people sleep on Jason Tatum, or I wouldn't say act like he's not a superstar. Everyone knows he's a superstar at this point in his career, but he does everything at an elite level, very, very high level, and there's just no holes at all in his game. This season, 27.8 points, so just call it 28 points a game. Uh, 2.9 turnovers, basically three turnovers. All these guys are in right around the same area turnover wise because they all handle the ball so much and run the offense for their team for the most part. But yeah, Tatum 28 points a game, 1.3 steals, half a block, 9.3 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 80% from the free throw line, 36 36% from three, 46% from the field in 36 minutes. And then he's, I don't know if I'd say elite, but very, very good defender. He does everything at a very high level, shooting, one on one defense, post defense, team defense, mid range, finishing at the paint, free throws. There's just no holes in his game again. Um, and I'd say he's definitely in the top six. One thing I need to see here, ESPN took him off of took his stats off the website because he got injured. They acted like he died or something. But I didn't forget you guys, of course, Luka Doncic. And this season he's averaging 28.1, 8.3 rebounds, 7.8 assists. So basically 8 assists on 46% from the field. So 28 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 46% shooting. It's not showing all the broken down stats for his three ball and his free throws, but Luka, I don't think you can have him out of the top five. You have to put him in the top five. But yeah, I just couldn't leave Luka out of there. I had to mention his stats. But yeah, as far as Wemby being top five, again, I do live in San Antonio, lifelong Spurs fan, and I'd say you can definitely make the argument he's absolutely top six. Again, you can argue Jason Tatum. I'd say probably Jason Tatum and him would be kind of battling for 5-6. Just depends on what you need for your team, or I guess just the type of player that you favor. But yeah, I'd say him and Tatum are probably battling for the 5-6 position. Again, Jokic is the best player in the NBA, and then Shea and Giannis are battling for the 2-3 spot, and then Luka, is probably battling for that 3-4 spot right around there. Um, but yeah, as a lifelong Spurs fan, I don't want to be biased. Of course, we are favorable towards Wemby. I'm going to talk great about Wemby all the time, but he deserves the praise. But yeah, I can't say he's 100% top five quite yet. Like I said, he's probably competing 5-6 with Jason Tatum there. But no doubt he's going to be a top three player, I'd say, by the start of next season. If not, he'll definitely be top five, no doubt by then. I'd say top three. He'll be the best player in the NBA, soon enough. I can't put the time frame on it yet, but soon enough. And again, it just kind of depends on what your team needs. Let's say, if y'all remember the Orlando Magic with Dwight Howard, let's say that team, would Shea Gilgeous-Alexander be a better player to them, or would Victor Wembanyama be a better player to them? Because they already have Dwight Howard blocking probably 3 shots a game, catching all the lobs, locking down the inside. So for a team like that already has a dominant big man, SGA, Jason Tatum, Nikola Jokic, they may be more valuable for a team like that. I mean, I would say Jokic in there because he's just a totally different big man than like a defensive-minded big man. He's an offensive big man. But for a team that already has a dominant big, those guys may be more valuable. Let's say a team like, I'm trying to think of a good example, just a more offensive-minded team that's lacking a shot blocker. Of course, Victor Wembanyama would be more valuable for a team like that. But again, it just kind of depends on what the team needs. It's kind of hard to make the top five discussions like this for that reason. All the teams are different. Different players fit differently on teams depending on what they need for that specific team. But yeah, definitely would say Wembanyama is in the top six. If you don't think he's in the top six, you're probably just a Spurs hater, which is fine. We've had those forever, even since the Tim Duncan days. But yeah, Wemby, just a great player. Definitely top six. Again, Jokic is my number one. Probably SGA number two. Giannis three. And then you got Tatum, Luka. And then you can just kind of argue where you want to put Tatum, Luka, Victor. But yeah, I'd say he's definitely in there. Thanks again for watching the video. If you made it to the end, please drop a like and subscribe. Also, please comment below what you think about the NBA top 5, top 6 players, and just kind of see what your opinion is there. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.